Hey there, welcome to another edition of the Spice Files. Once again joined by my good friend, Dave. How are you doing, Dave?
Hey, Mike. Doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome. Had a really fun time in the event yesterday, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
The Havenwood event. This is the second time you've done it. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the background of it?
Yeah, sure. Havenwood too. So this is the second edition of a one-day webcam tournament that I ran I think last like May or something. So the timing was a little bit different this year. Of course, last year we started doing these one-day webcam events due to COVID. And we've done a bunch now. I figured I had one more in me at least for the current like era, if you will, and so decided to run Havenwood back. Just a one day straight Atlantic, nothing. I mean, the quintessential kind of normal, nothing special, nothing flashy kind of webcam tournament. 7 rounds of Swiss, no top 8 or anything like that. And we had 75 players. Representing as far east as Europe, I think, and then as far west as Hawaii. So we had a kind of like a midday East Coast start time to try and accommodate the very wide range of geographies represented by the players.
Sure. Yeah, I woke up a little earlier than normal to play in it, and I'm sure there were people who had it worse off than me, I suppose. So I'm not going to complain too much. But yeah, no, it was a fun time, and everything was pretty speedy. It worked out pretty well. Not to put you on the spot, but I just had a thought. Like, have you given thought to, like, you've been running these one day things online, right? Are you intending to maybe like move it to a one day thing in person?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been. A lot of people actually have been giving me their thoughts about this kind of unsolicited, especially yesterday, which is nice. I love to hear player feedback, and I'm always trying to look for things that the community is looking for. When I go to organize something, I want to do something that I'm interested in playing in, and that I know other people are asking for. So, I mean, I'm a little. I think I'm done for now with doing one day events. I think, knock on wood, like as things get, the COVID situation kind of improves, people get vaccinations. Like, I'm going to be turning my attention to more in-person events the rest of this year. I think we're going to start small. We're going to do things kind of like invite only and a little bit on the DL here locally. But that might open up to some slightly bigger things as the year goes on, depending on how things go. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But I think there could be a role. I mean, for the one day webcam event, even post COVID, I think there are people that are in more far flung locales that they just don't get. Maybe they have their kids or whatever their home situation is that doesn't allow them to travel, that kind of thing. But they still want to do a bigger one day event. And so the webcam events can kind of meet that need. So I'm not ruling out ever doing them again. I think maybe, come next year, like, maybe, who knows, like in the dead of winter, I'm not going to want to go anywhere or do something in person anyway.
Sure.
And I can carve out a Saturday to organize something like this. Or the other thing we might try is in terms of like changing the timing, like I thought at least for me, like the 4 p.m. start for the lightning ball that we did in November, kind of worked well for like an MTG dad schedule. And, it's less of a commitment to do something like that because it doesn't eat my entire Saturday. So I could see doing that kind of thing. I think I'm a little, I mean, I don't want to say that I'm burned out, but I think I've brought this form to the point that I'm happy with it, and I've sort of had enough of doing this for now.
Right.
But we'll see. We've proven over the last year that we can do it, and it's another tool in the arsenal. It's another type of event that people really seem to appreciate having the opportunity. So we'll see.
For sure. Awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, we can dive right into these decks. We've got 8 decks to go through today. As usual, there were more in the list that were pretty cool to look at as well, but we just have to sort of make a cutoff. We usually try to make these about an hour long, and so there's usually around 8 decks or so.
Yeah,
let's
I pulled maybe like 16 or 17 that looked kind of interesting. There
yeah.
were I don't think we're going to look at any of them, but there were at least 5 different Power Surge decks in the field. There was like Chains Power Surge, a couple Blood Moon Power Surge decks, a Goblin Power Surge deck. A lot of people were on Power Surge, which is kind of fun to see.
Yeah, and I also mentioned to you that a handful of the decks, I feel like I saw some bleed over or crossover from the New England Monthly, because there were just maybe more legends on average than I usually would see. Yeah. So people just wanted to play their legends, man. So it's pretty cool. Okay, yeah.
Why don't we jump right in?
Let's jump into the first one. Yeah.
Okay. So this comes to us from Vincent Roy, Veen on the Old School Discords. And this is, I don't know, how would you describe this? This is like an Arborea Fog control deck, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's got this Howling Mine Stormseeker thing, which we've seen in other decks before, but it's not overly common, I would say. But, as like a good way to sort of end the game, you've got all these Stormseekers, combined with Side Blast and that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, it feels prisony.
Yep, there's a bit of that like parfait kind of prison aspect to it.
Right. Yeah.
He's trying to kill you with black Vice, it looks like, for the most part. Vice or Stormseeker damage. You Hurkle your stuff into your hand and do a bunch of damage with either of those. Yeah, I mean, kind of typical like control-y, like foggy type lock pieces. I now I know, looking at this, why he when time in the round is called, I pop into the different whereby rooms to let people know that they're going to turns, and now I can know why Vincent was often going to the bitter end of the round timer. That it all makes sense now.
Got it. Yeah. I can see this being a problem. Actually, that's sort of just a funny thing to comment on, is that I haven't played in a ton of like one-day things that have round timers. I mean, I just haven't really been doing it for, maybe at least a year, right? And so it's been weird to try and adapt to that again. It's just, I don't know, it's like harder to talk to your opponent, just about everyday stuff or whatever. Yeah. It's just, anyway, just something I
no, like that's a good point. Like all the leagues, right? The Neo, whether it's the Neoses or the other different club leagues or like the derbies, those are all untimed, and you have as much time as you need to like let a creation like this run wild or just chit chat, before you even get to your games. And it is definitely, I don't know, like people may not appreciate the extent to which it is sort of having timed rounds for Atlantic is a different format than untimed rounds, right? I feel like you see a lot more of like the deck, for example. Like there's a reason why the deck always really does well in the derbies. I think disproportionately more so than it does in these timed events. It is a really different set of constraints, and that can impact the brewing and the playing more than I think people appreciate sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, not only are certain strategies they just take longer to win, but also if you're like, I'm talking about the actual V deck, right? And you go and play it in a timed event, like just really easy for you to just go to time a lot, because it's just weird, uncomfortable decisions you maybe have to make that you don't have to make when you're playing whatever deck you're more comfortable with,
Yep.
Stuff like that. So.
I love the sideboard here. He's got a lot
this deck is really cool. I like about it is that it's a deck that doesn't play Mistress Factory, and we don't see a lot of those.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, I really think there's a lot of fog effects in Old School, surprisingly. And I feel like there really is like probably a fairly reasonable like mill fog, like recur all of your fogs effect, like a type of a deck. I don't know what the exact list would be or anything, but there just seems to be the pieces, I mean, granted, maybe just playing Twiddle Vault is the more efficient thing, and you fog by taking the turns, but I feel like, if you have unrestricted recall, you can like recur all the fog effects. You can do that sort of thing, and it's kind of just it's a neat possible deck. And this is sort of going a little bit down that route of like, you're fogging the game, holding things up, and then you kill them with some, here it's sort of like, it's not chip damage, so to speak. It's like long-term damage off of ice is what you're trying to go for.
Yeah, I think he wants. I mean, I foresee when this comes together, he's really doing damage in relatively big chunks. Actually, whether it's ice over a couple turns or like a big Stormseeker or something like that. There's not a lot of chip here. Yeah, I mean, this is not all like. I agree with you. I think there is a like a Turbo Fog Millstone deck out there. And I know like Gordon Anderson, for example, has messed around in that space. A couple other folks have done, like James Rosenblum used to play like an Arborea Millstone deck. That was pretty good. Trying to think of where else I've seen it, but I don't know if anyone has really like gotten to the quote unquote perfect list. That's probably like white, green, black, and blue, or something like that. You have the different fog effects in those three colors. You've got fog, darkness, holy day, and then you've got blue power. You need the recalls, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces, and it's cool to see how Vincent has put a lot of that together here, but with some other kind of control, some gnarly control cards like Nova Pentacle out of the board, or the Tabernacle. And then other alternate kill conditions too out of the board too. Like imagine locking things up and then killing somebody with Karma if they're on a heavy blacklist. There's some cool things to do here post board.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, is that an all singleton sideboard? Looks like
it. I don't think. I was kind of scanning back and forth to see if there was anything duplicated, but I didn't see anything. I think.
Yeah, and I even like this one Plains because he's got like Wrath of God and just a lot of white cards over there. So actually kind of that makes sense, right? You want to board that in, make sure you can cast those things.
Yeah, and maybe in case of Blood Moon as well, you've got another. You can board into that.
Yeah, I could see that being a problem. There's 4 islands, right? But there's
he has islands, but he might be low on white, and he can bring in blue Elemental Blast.
Right. Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah. I do like the main deck Cock Red too, just this a nod to. Those decks that are, those damn Power Search decks, right?
That's right.
They're everywhere. Cool. Well, nice job, Vincent. This is neat.
Very cool. All right.
Okay, now up next we have two decks from Denmark, and I think these guys are either brothers or cousins or something. They might be in the same family, same last names, same team over there in Denmark. This first one comes to us from Christian. I'm going to butcher this. Christian Rinkia Anderson. And this is no way else to put it other than this is a blazing effigy deck. Right?
Yeah. You don't see those every day, that's for sure. But there's some really cool, again, I think we say this on almost every Spice Files, but, when we're looking at spicy decks, at least from my perspective, I think you agree with me, is that, we're looking for, you want to have cross synergies in your deck because it's really hard to build a real synergistic deck sometimes in old school, and that's so that when you have something spicy like this, that's really kind of fitting the bill, right? Because you have these blazing effigies and the rook eggs, right? Those are kind of doing the same thing. You can chain those things. You can bolt them, and then he's also got these Ashnod's altars.
Yeah, the altars.
Yeah. And then you can sack those things to the altar. You can also sack the Suchis that he's playing for mana.
For 8 mana or something. Or what is? Sorry, what do you get from the altar? Is it 3?
No. It's 2 mana.
2. Okay, so you get 6 mana from sacking a Suchi, which is not bad at all.
Yeah.
Help you cast those disintegrates there. Just get a big effigy chain going.
Yeah. Then he's also got this one earthquake in there, which obviously goes with the most of those creatures as well. Yeah. So it's just kind of cool stuff going on. This is probably a budget thing in 2021, but a Diamond Valley would go pretty well in here. But those are.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I assume that's a card availability issue. Those things are damn expensive, unfortunately. And but they're such a great brew around. But yeah, you'd think at least 1 or 2 would be a natural fit here.
Yeah.
I maybe Christian is a listener of All Things Considered. There's the 61st Spice card with the Inferno there.
Right. Yeah, I glossed over that at first, but yeah.
Yeah, although of course, I mean, Altar and Effigy themselves are pretty darn spicy, and why we're even talking about this in the first place. Yeah, I like the way a lot of these different things fit together. And then, to round it out, he's got the 8 bolts, the things that you expect, like the Wheel of Fortune. I mean, this deck is gonna burn you out pretty fast. He can make a bunch of mana. He can play a nice control game, like the Ruck Eggs block really well. He can get those 4s out very quicker with the birds, of course. And some of the power helps with that too. This is a pretty nice package.
Yeah. I'm
trying to think of what he's trying to protect with Avoid Fates that he really wants to keep around, because some of these things just benefit from being blown up whenever.
That's true. Yeah, I mean,
maybe an altar. I don't know, just like a different like a combo piece or something.
I mean, the one thing I always think about when you're playing in the mana burn formats is, Su-Chi is fine, but also like has a downside, and
right.
So you can actually like prevent it from getting Divine Offering or whatever, right?
True enough.
That or Disenchanted or whatever, right? And so that seems fine to me. But also, protecting. Actually, one thing that I've had happen to me a lot just from like playing Type 1.5 is getting your Rook Eggs swords.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
So like this prevents that from happening, and then you get to keep your Rook Egg around, and but yeah. So I mean, there's some uses. I could, I don't know if 2 is the right number. It's hard to know, but I can see it having a use now and again. So the sideboard is always interesting. I feel like green and red have some pretty good sideboard options available to them. Like as a combination. I mean, like obviously you never really get better than disenchant killing enchantments and artifacts, but at least you can you have the 2 global clear all of them effects in green and red, right? Which is kind of
they
nice.
are Shatterstorm and Tranquility, right? Pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then you get the best blast, right? And
yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I like the bottles here. Underrated thing to do with Ruck Eggs too. Play your Ruck Egg, and then you can bottle the world, and you get to keep the token, which is fantastic.
Yeah, Rook token is not a card originally printed to Reunites.
Exactly. And I think that's all. I mean, he's got the 2 City Brass, but I mean, could almost argue for a bottle main here.
I could see that.
Because Serendip Befried is kind of annoying when all your stuff does 3 damage for the most part. And I don't know. I love playing bottle main deck is just so much better than bottle out of the board sometimes.
And I could even see here, if someone were to look to build a version of this, I feel like you could almost splash black. Like you're already playing birds, and you've got a few basics and things. I mean, granted, there's a Blood Moon sideboard thing going on, but maybe you don't do that. But then you can have tutors so that you can play that one city in a bottle and have it available to tutor for,
right.
And that sort of thing.
Go grab it. I mean. Yeah, Mind Twist obviously is a card.
Sure.
You've got a bunch of mana floating around here that you can twist their hand pretty readily. And then the other concern, I don't know, you could throw in the Darrow Lore too. It's just like a funky splash card. But I mean, I also like the purity. I mean, we of course anyone can sit here and say, oh, this deck would be better with Ancestral Recall in it, obviously. But I do like the the purity of the green, just green red, and being able to do everything that you want in those 2 colors that have a lot of a lot of powerful effects, and you want to be able to fit everything in. So
I mean, honestly, burn spells are, I don't know, the way that I always think about them is they're basically the most versatile removal spell. They are essentially removal spells that also do another thing.
Yep.
Right. And they just go to the face to end the game.
Namely,
yeah, so I don't know, burn to me is always, it's a very, very good strategy just to have those things. And sometimes a deck like this, sometimes I'm sure you're kind of playing the control role, and sometimes you have to play the aggro role, and Burn
Yes.
fits that bill pretty well, right?
Yep.
You can do one or the other, and it's whatever you kind of need them to be. So,
Yeah, this is it's a very kind of mid-rangey, versatile, super nonlinear kind of deck that I think rewards good piloting and understanding your role in the matchup, and when you need to turn it on, when you need to hang back, deal with threats, when you need to turn it on and go to the face, that kind of thing. And really rewarding when it comes together and you're making the right choices. So nice deck, Christian.
Yeah, very good, very good.
All right, now the second part of this Danish duo. This is Kenneth, Kenneth Rinkia, and this is this would fit right in on the recent Monster of the Week episode where they covered Howling Mine, and I think another recent or upcoming episode where they are going to talk about chains of Mephistopheles, and here you have them both, the Howling Mine chains, and of course Island Sanctuary as a 4-of. Really, really committing to skipping your own draw, but then drawing a card off a Howling Mine to have a moat effect.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I like Island Sanctuary quite a bit as a card, just because of it makes you think about how it interacts with other stuff. Like that's instantly what I think about when I look at Island Sanctuary, because like you're not going to want to play it and just skip all your draw steps. Like that's never really going to work, right? You're not going anywhere at that point. So you're really looking to like find a way to make this work well, and obviously the Howling Mines fit that bill pretty well. So card in as separate colors. You could use Sylvan Library and skip both the draws. I mean, you can skip as many draws during your draw step, if I recall correctly. So it doesn't do any other effect with skipping the 2, but you can also use it as a in that way. And that way, your opponent isn't like getting a benefit from it. Like they don't draw any cards. Like it just depends on what you want, what direction you want to go with your Island Sanctuary deck. But like here, he's kind of fixed the problem of the Howling Mines giving his opponents an advantage by playing Chains of Mephistopheles. So so it's a cool way to go about it. I like that a lot. I also can never really say no to a deck that plays Nova Pentacle.
Oh yeah, the quintessential sort of supervillain. Rube Goldberg kind of card. Once you can set it up, your opponent comes to understand what that thing does, and it's just like, oh god.
Yeah, the first time playing against it is an eye-opening experience, because I think a lot of people have just disregarded it. It's kind of expensive to use.
Yeah,
right?
it's slow.
Like you compare it to Icy Manipulator, and you're just like, why do I really want to do this? But it has a bigger window on whether or not it does anything, right? Because obviously it doesn't do anything if your opponent has no creatures. Sure. Like if you have it against like the deck, it literally does nothing basically, right? Because you'll never have a thing to target. Like maybe a Mistress Factory, right, when it's activated. But so there's this card as opposed to Icy literally has like a bottom floor of do nothing.
Yes.
And then but the top floor is like,
the top floor is just heartbreaking. Like your opponent is effectively locked out of they can't do anything.
It's sort of like a moat in a way, right?
Yeah,
except
exactly.
It also impacts what spells they play. Like if they try to burn you, you can
kill their creature. If they try to burn you, they can kill you can kill their creature with it.
yeah. And well, they pick which one you kill, but
yeah, but you don't have creatures, so yeah, it's fine.
Right. So.
There's some interesting layers. I mean, obviously he's got all this control stuff. He's got a ton of counter magic, swords and disenchants and divine offerings. So a lot of 1-for-1 removal and counter magic. But then he has this interesting choice. He's got like the two hymns and 2 main, 2 side. And I'm trying to think of like what the role, like if you see it early, great. If you're top decking it late, like how, like, I know, like, you're sort of eventually getting them to 0 cards in hands, right? If your Howling Mine and Chains are humming along, like, they are not drawing anything that they can keep, right? That's how that works.
Right. Yeah, because they skip their. I mean, they draw their normal card for turn. Right.
Yeah, but then they have to discard. Then they have to rummage, right? They have to discard before they draw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if they're starting from no cards in hand, they're drawing. You have a Howling Mine. They draw their card for turn, but then they have to discard that card in order to draw the Howling Mine card. Right.
Right. Yeah. I think that's correct. Yeah.
But then.
Yeah.
Then
so basically, if you get it down to no cards, then they draw and just discard, and then draw. But they still end up with a card at the end, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Because it says if the player discards a card this way, they draw a card.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
But I mean, yeah, it's I think it still works just fine. I mean,
right.
They still get a card, but I mean.
Yep. But you've got the answer for that card probably with all this other nonsense going on, and you've blanked a ton of their stuff with the moats that you've built and the abyss and that kind of thing.
Right. Honestly, I think we were talking about like playing a mill deck when you're talking about the previous deck.
Yeah. Right.
And maybe Chains of Mephistopheles is just part of that deck as well, right?
Yeah,
it's
right. Just
on color.
With the Howling Mines, you just make them start shredding their deck. Like they're like effectively, you can mill them effectively for like 4 or 5 cards every turn. They'll run out pretty fast. Yeah.
I mean, totally unrelated to this deck exactly.
Right. No,
kind of, because it's
other evil things that you can do with all this stuff. Right. The skull is pretty cool. He's got one in the main, one on the board. Can bring back his chains, his abyss, his island sanctuaries. I think that's it, right? For enchantments to recur.
Seems funny though. Like that's quite a bit.
Okay, so it's the altars in the upper left are City of Brasses.
Right.
He's got a cool demonic tutor altar. He has also got a cool drain life altar there in the sideboard. I like the haunting wind plan in the sideboard. Kind of a neat thing against, well, for the most part, I imagine against control, but also against like, I don't know, random either robot stacks or the Parfait deck. I meant like a Howling Mine, or what do you call it? A Haunting Wind against Parfait is hilarious. They can't tap all their stuff all the time. One last question. What are we doing with the magical hacks? The only thing I see is the Formus Bell in the sideboard.
Yeah, so magical hack's the one that changes the land type, right?
Well, yeah, you change a word to a different one.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I don't see.
Well, actually, Island Sanctuary lets their island walking creatures attack you. I think you can change that, right?
Yeah, I guess if you need to stop
Merfolk.
Right, specifically Merfolk.
Something like that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but I think it's really there for the bell in the sideboard. That's what I would.
Sure.
I would guess.
And then you're turning all their lands into 1/1 creatures that you can then destroy with Pentacle, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, so yeah.
Or they get Summoning Sickness, then. I
mean, the bell works with your own stuff, right? Because he has a lot of swamps.
A lot of swamps, sure. That's an alternate win con, for sure.
Yeah, it's another win condition. Yeah, I'm not totally sure what else.
All right,
yeah.
Maybe someone will tell us in the comments what we're missing.
That does happen sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, no, I hope it does in this case.
Yeah.
Anyway, neat list, Kenneth.
Oh, one other thing I'll say. There's just something about this deck photo and these cards that really does make this feel super villainy. I mean, it's like the art, I think, on all this stuff. But yeah, like you look at this deck list as opposed to like, I don't know, an aggro deck list or whatever, or even like modern day Magic cards, right? And you don't get this feel of like this is an evil wizard doing evil things.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling is no longer there, right? When you look at new Magic cards, that's how I feel about it, at least. And but this looks that way, right?
It is
You look
very
at it and
clear.
you're like, oh, I see. There's a plan here, right? This wizard is sitting in his island sanctuary, and he has these chains of Mephistopheles and this skull of Orm and these howling mines, and he's doing some dirty work,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, it's
Caressing
cool to look at.
this skull sitting on the pillow,
Right.
cackling to himself. Yeah, I mean, underrated aspect of this deck photo also is the symmetry that he uses. Just the way it's laid out is very thoughtful.
Oh yeah.
In the way that a supervillain might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well done, sir.
Very, very nice. All right.
Well, here's another supervillain. But this is Jeff Liu of the Beast of the Bay. Obviously, no stranger to this show. And Nora is his beige carpet, the backdrop for all of his brilliant schemes. Good Lord. I mean, where to even start with this? This is it's a Eureka deck, but you can Eureka in a lot of different funky combo pieces. And yeah, and it all hangs together surprisingly well. He went 5-2 with this deck.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Which is just something else. A lot to unpack here. Okay, so we have a power monolith package, and you can Eureka them down in order, and that works. If you've got the pieces, you can Eureka monolith, power artifact, and then fireball right after Eureka is done resolving on your turn. So there's that. You can Eureka down Ali from Cairo, same principle here, and then put the Spectral Cloak on it before your opponent could do anything, because it's while Eureka is still resolving. Yeah. He has good Lord. He's got the Sylvan Library Mirror Universe package. He is ready to channel Fireball people. He's got all the pieces that he needs to have a turn 1 kill. I know he at least got a turn 4 channel Fireball off at least one occasion during the day yesterday. So he did at least get the channel Fireball off at one point. What else are we doing here? Trying to unpack a couple of these one-ofs, like Scepter, Ivory Tower, for example, and how else this thing can come together. I guess Scepter's pretty cool with Eureka, in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I definitely once again, right, there's nice cross synergies happening here, right? Because you really want those fireballs anyway for the Basalt Monolith.
Yep.
The Power Monolith plan, and then also might as well just play a channel.
Yeah, sure.
And
if you can cast it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm actually the card I'm most curious about is the Time Vault.
I think that's become his signature card at this point. He just he just throws in a value Time Vault. He plays it in ATOG lists. He just throws in a value Time Vault, just because nowadays. I don't think he has. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a really compelling combo, or if he's just, if you're going to combo off later, just being able to bank a turn when it's not important is pretty strong. I think that's just kind of what he's up to.
No, I mean, I can definitely see that. I mean, you can just get your extra turn, and after you've Eureka'd or whatever, especially if you've had a Eureka and that means you can't, I don't know, actually cast the fireball because you don't have the red mana to play it or something. It can just get you into interesting situations like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I remember during the day yesterday he mentioned that he actually won. His opponent had a blue blast but had tapped out, I think, more likely because they really just didn't quite know what he was doing. Which is, a benefit of playing some of these decks, right?
Oh,
You maybe
absolutely.
don't think about all the time. Just, you're casting these weird cards, and your opponent might see the Ali from Cairo half of your deck in game one and make decisions based on that, and then
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
no idea that you're gonna, power monolith fireball them to death in the next game. So.
Yep. No, you definitely gain an edge by having these disparate but synergistic plans, and showing somebody the one side of your deck and not the other in the first game.
Yeah.
To the point where like a deck like this, you are careful about what you play in the first game, and not let on like other things that are going on if you don't need to. I'm stuck on this scepter. Like I'm thinking about things to do with it. You can put power artifact on it to reduce the casting cost. That is a thing.
Sure.
You can get things out of their hand before you Eureka, so they're not playing more expensive permanents. The other thing that you can do is you can protect, like this is a combo deck again, like your pieces are fragile, so you can scepter away removal. If they know that you're on power monolith, like they're saving the things to disrupt that, right? You can stick that stuff away so that they can't hang on to it anymore, to make it safe to combo off later. It is, and because these things are all coming together during Eureka, it makes it that much harder. Like at post Eureka, you can't stop him from generating infinite mana. You can't stop him from having a cloaked Ali. Like the window for messing with that doesn't exist if it's happening during the resolution of that spell. And then that's sort of like the central point here. And I think it all can come together pretty. I mean, the 5-2 record speaks for itself. I know Greg Krager came out of his match against Jeff really impressed and singing the praises of this pile. Just saying like this is one of the more innovative and genuinely like powerful things that he had seen kind of out of the blue and old school in a long time, which is always something that you want to hear as a brewer and as a pilot of something like this. So he's at it again.
I hope we can see this one in action a little more. I'm kind of like I would love to. I'd love to see it get played more.
He's posting his matches from yesterday too on his I guess like a YouTube channel or something like that. So
right, yeah, okay, that's right.
Cool.
Yeah, maybe we can. Maybe I'll link to that in the just in the notes for this episode.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. All right. Next up, we have the mysterious Eureka Shivan.
Eureka Shivan. This is something. So the deck photo for this, just for clarity's sake, we cropped it so that you can actually see what the cards are. The actual deck photo from this includes what I believe is the pilot himself, like wearing like a wizard's outfit or something and like gesturing wildly at the. I don't know. Maybe you can show both. When you put this together.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I had to imagine, I don't remember what the full picture looks like. I'm just looking at the crop one, but was he doing the Eureka thing?
Yeah, kind of.
Because like the deck photo says equals MC
squared. Yeah. Man, what a nerd.
Nice.
There were a lot of Eureka decks in this event also. And kind of on display is the different crazy things that you could do. Like we had like the quote unquote like traditional Eureka list. But we also had like, the combo thing that Jeff played. We have this one that really leans on Coffin. I feel like Coffin is like the centerpiece of this deck, and we can go into the different things that this is doing. And then we have another one also from Ben Katz, right, coming up too, that we'll get into it a little bit later. But yeah, so what we're trying to do here is get value from Coffin and the things that Coffin can do, I think, with the counters, like exiling stuff and bringing it back, to put more token or more counters on Trike or Tetravis. And then also like using this permanent based stuff to like if they play a creature or something during Eureka, you can slap one of your enchantments, like an Oubliette or a Tackle Maggot, like right onto it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, man, what else is going on here? He's got Guardian Beasts that are keeping the coffins from dying, and also he's got the Beast and Disc combo.
Yeah.
You can assemble that during Eureka, although, yeah, that you can assemble that during a Eureka, so that like by the time the disc comes down and the beast comes down, they can't do anything to the disc. Now you still have to wait until the disc untaps, obviously, to use it. But you've got your kind of invulnerability kind of pre-assembled there.
Yeah.
Same ditto with the Chaos Orb too, right?
Right.
And then he's got a bunch of fast mana to help power some of this stuff out. Like he's got the shops and vaults to help with the robots or the discs or the coffins. Another deck that we're featuring here with two main deck Hindatorak. No more, no less. I am trying to think about Tackle Maggot and what it is really doing for us here. That's a card that maybe we should read this because it's not a card that you see very often. And I want to remind myself also. So the general idea is that it goes on a creature and gradually kills that creature.
Yeah, then, I brought it up actually
already.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the upkeep of the enchanted creature's controller, put a -0/-1 counter on that creature. When the enchanted creature dies, that creature's controller chooses a creature to put Tackle Maggot on. And if they do, then they return Tackle Maggot back into play on that creature, right? So like as soon as the creature you first play Tackle Maggot on dies, then whoever controlled that creature gets to put Tackle Maggot on a new creature. Yep. And then you continue that process until it says if they can't return it to put on a creature, then it goes into play under like your control. And it says at the beginning of that player's upkeep, Tackle Maggot deals the damage. So basically, whoever gets stuck with it,
it becomes a curse.
It becomes a curse, right? That deals the damage to them every turn. So it's definitely a weird one.
I have so many questions. Okay, so under Coffin, it goes out like it like stays on the creature that gets coffined. But you're not gonna. Are you going to Tackle Maggot your own Trike that's a 1/1 to somehow recur it? Does that work? It kills it, but then what happens?
No, I don't. You can put it on their guy after that, but I don't know that you even necessarily put it on their creature. Like, I think or on your own creature rather. So I think you just put it on their guy, and then when you disc away the board.
Yep.
They're stuck with this.
They're stuck with the curse.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's the thing I see that's like the most obvious way to go about it.
Yeah, and actually, like if it's about to pop and you have a creature, you can coffin your own creature to save it from the Tackle Maggot.
There we go.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. I'm down with that.
Yeah. The only one sad thing that I'm sad about is that Oubliette doesn't it doesn't come into play anymore when you do the whole thing. It's all the phasing thing now, and so you don't get more permanence on your trikes or your
right. Like if you Oubliette your trike and then disc the Oubliette away. Previously, it worked exactly like Coffin. It would come back with more counters. Now it doesn't. Right. It's just considered to not exist.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know why actually I do know why. It's because they printed Oubliette again.
They reprinted Oubliette, which was a pop staple.
But it's a little weird that like Taunus's Coffin literally is like it was worded basically the same, but it's different errata.
Yeah.
It's a little awkward, but
I don't think they can reprint Coffin, but Oubliette was a common, right? So
right. Yeah. Coffin.
Yeah. It is annoying though because it was very pleasing in old school to have them templated exactly the same way. And then literally just last year, I think Oubliette was reprinted.
Yeah.
With a new frame and, phasing was something apparently that people can understand nowadays. And it was very clumsily templated, but we liked it that way. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. But the one thing to say about it though is that, it's still great with Eureka, right? So there's no reason to not.
For for sure.
use it. And it, of course, still does keep the tokens or the counters that the creature has. So if you do, end up like Eurekaing and then like you can oubliette, so you can put your trike out and then afterwards you play oubliette and then you put out a disc or whatever, you can like have that thing where you've got like an oublietted trike.
Yeah, like a safe haven.
The board. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can still do.
It still does protect it. There are things.
Or just exile or phase out their guy, right? I mean.
Yep.
So it still does.
Always good. Yeah, and then he's got a quasi-transformational sideboard. If you're already in green-black Eureka space, you can side into the Eureka Mirror Lich, which is great.
That is an option. That's what a crazy man might do, but that's fine. That's what we're looking for here.
I mean, for those who haven't seen Eureka Mirror Lich before, this has somehow become like a kind of a Spice staple archetype. Like this has been around for a while. Like people do this thing. The idea here is that you're Eurekaing in these two permanents, Lich and Mirror Universe. Lich, of course, reads you lose all life, so you have your life total 0, and when you activate Mirror Universe, the opponent then has 0 life and they die. And it's as simple as that. Hopefully you can protect it with that Avoid Fate there.
That one Avoid Fate.
Yeah. Actually, this is a deck that could benefit from the Jeff Liu patented one of random Time Vault, because you want to bank a turn for your Mirror Universe or for your disc. Yeah. To go to the next, just get that combo off.
True.
Yeah, this is lovely. This is such a weird pile. I mean, everything about this, the zombie kind of green coloring. We'll have to post that full deck photo somewhere. I don't know. This is just wild, and decks like this make me want to continue to organize old school events because people come up with Eureka Tackle Maggot and win some games with it.
Yeah. Also, I guess we should mention that the photo is like green, right? And I think that's meant to go along with the Eureka artwork, which is almost entirely green, right? If you look at the artwork.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. Just thought I'd mention it because the the deck photo looks like a strange color, but that's the intent.
Okay, so Nick actually won 3 matches with this deck.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
9 match points.
At the end of the day, you're still playing discs and trikes and.
No, absolutely.
So it's still got some powerful stuff going on. I can see that.
Right, well done, Eureka Shivan.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Next up, we've got Brian Limbacher.
Some beautiful Brassard Moxes.
Yeah,
Brian Limbacher, another staple of our show here. And he's back yet again, working on Fungusaur.
This deck is crazy.
Yeah, so he's got the Fungusaurus. He has the old Hazazon Stang Caracas package, like you do. He's into self-harm here for the Fungusaurs with the the deserts, the Sorrow's Path. Does that hurt a creature? I think it does, right?
It hurts everybody, right? So
yeah,
all your guys creature. And you.
Yeah.
So you gotta get it a counter first, but then.
Right. Then or give it a counter, or come on, you can buff it with the Cry Shield before activating Sorrow's Path.
True. Yeah. There's so many cool interactions in this deck.
So many things.
So you've got Desert to go with your Fungusaurs, right? You can just ping them for one.
Yeah, you can split off a damage from Pyrotechnics to your Fungusaur and bolt an opponent's creature.
Yeah.
You can ping it down with your Trike. You can. Oh my God.
Okay. You can live the full dream of Pyrotechnicsing your Rook Egg for 3 and your Fungusaur for 1.
Yes. 100%.
I wonder if he did that.
Oh my God. He's got the Cry Shield Diamond Valley combo. Seen that before, but not like this.
Right.
God, he's got Disharmony in the board, which my head hurts thinking about a Disharmony Sorrow's Path play, right? Because you're taking control of your opponent's attacking creature, but then you're exchanging 2 of opponent's blocking creature. Like, does that even work? Maybe not. What do these cards even do? Oh my god.
I was thinking, oh, maybe you can Cry Shield with Tracker, but that doesn't really do anything.
I don't know.
But you can most certainly Cry Shield your Fungusaur.
You can Cry Shield your Jacques Levert into a 3/8 or something. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, 3/8.
3/8. Man, actually, yeah, Jacques is really cool in decks like this.
Jacques with Fungusaur is a thing. Actually, Jacques with Tracker is awesome also.
Yeah, right? Yeah. That's cool. I like that a lot. I don't think I've seen anybody do that before.
Me neither. Yeah, I think I learned something. Man, that alone makes me super excited. Jacques Tracker. That's a real thing that people can use. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is so cool. Why is this so cool? How do these Naya legends work together so well? Like Jacques and Hazazon is great. The tokens are 1/3s, right? Good God.
Yeah.
Man. Ryan, come on.
Yeah, and then you can even like Earthquake the board at that point and not kill your own tokens.
This deck is so spicy so spicy. Excuse me. This deck is so spicy that Preacher's in the sideboard, like you don't have room for the normal,
right.
Diamond Valley combo pieces, right?
Right.
There's too many awesome things going on.
Well, you can't fit in Preacher when you're playing Tracker and and Jacques Levert combo.
You can't play Preacher in your 2 main deck Earthquake deck either, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh God, in the Earthquake works with Jacques too. Oh, this is so good.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's just so good.
I like it a lot, man. And the other cool thing is this deck does not play Swords to Plowshares, right? I'm not missing that, am I?
No. Why would you play that?
Right, yeah. There's like no good reason to, right? Because you have so many ways to make the board like favorable for you.
Yeah, you can deal with creatures no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You need disenchants, right? Because you don't want like Abyss or something to ruin your day. It's stupid.
Right.
But yeah, don't play swords. You've got a million ways to deal with creatures, and they're all way more awesome.
Mm-hmm.
God, he won a match too. That's important to note.
Nice.
It did come together.
Yeah.
For him, at least.
No, I like this a lot. Yeah.
This is sweet.
I mean, I don't know if there's anything to mention about the sideboard, but it looks like the somewhat standard cards.
Yeah, normal looking things. I do like the Gravity Sphere. I think that works well with your high toughness guys on the ground.
Yep.
You can block a Serendib Ifrit all day with a Fungusaur, a 2/4 Fungusaur under Jacques. Come on.
Yeah, like eventually you just have the biggest creature on the board, right? And you can just keep attacking it, and makes sense.
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
I like the Dervishes as well. Well, we mentioned Abyss a second ago. But yeah, Dervish fits the plan here pretty well. Man, that I just can't get off of these Jacques. I think they tie everything together.
They're really good. They kind of work
super
with
important.
all the pieces.
They're super important.
I'd almost want a third one.
Yeah, I agree. Because you always want it in play.
Yeah.
Like everything is better with that thing. I kind of want some mana dorks here.
Yeah.
I feel like even some birds would be okay because the bird gets buffed under. It's an 0/3 under Jacques. It helps you cast all this weird, multicolored stuff. It also
just takes the bolt for Fungusaur if you don't have the Jacques out to protect it.
Right. Yeah. People like to bolt dorks early, and then then your Fungusaur has a better chance of sticking later. Yeah. I don't know. Just spitballing.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to go with this. It's a very cool idea, though. I like it a lot.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, God, Brian. Okay, he's done it again. He's done it again.
All right.
All right. A couple more, right?
Two more? Yeah, two more, I think. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mentioned this earlier. Another completely different spin on Eureka. This is like base blue Eureka deck. This comes to us from Ben Katz. Frequent Spicer, frequent Spiker. A lot of bona fides by this point. This is a Eureka deck that works with Homerid Spawning Bed. The idea being you can Eureka down all of these hugely fat blue creatures. Even his legends obviously are blue, can be sacrificed to the Spawning Bed. And once you stick that Leviathan, you just pay, what is it, 1 blue with the Spawning Bed, and just chop it up for parts, and you've got 1 million camera tokens. Wandering.
That is insane.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I love it.
Every single one of his Eureka targets works with this. He has the Havenwood, which is actually a frequent buddy of Eureka by now, and Wild Growth as well. Another benefit of the one strip environment, right, is you can actually Wild Growth with not as much fear as you normally. I mean, it's unplayable in 4 strip. Right. But here it really helps to make the Eureka decks kind of tick. To get that turn 2 Eureka. Yeah, I ended up playing against Ben in the 7th round. We were both 4-2 going into the 7th round.
Okay.
And it came together for him. He stuck a turn like 3, I think, Eureka against me, and the second game, like, he just bowled me over with these things. I go to Terror his deep spawn, and he had a blue up, and he's like, "Are you sure you want to cast Terror?" I'm like, "I can just give it Shroud." I'm like, "Oh, these cards are so good." He absolutely won that game. And then the third game, I honestly felt sort of bad that he had this perfect early Eureka. Just he Eureka'd out like 2 Modi as a deep spawn and a Leviathan, I think. And
wow.
Or no, in a Swamp King, I don't know. He had like 4 or 5 guys, and I had a tutor, and I tutored for balance, and was able to come back. Come back after that. With my rack deck, right? So it was a shame because I would have enjoyed losing again to all these fat ridiculous things.
Yeah. I was gonna ask how he had done with this deck because it feels like it's doing something pretty powerful.
I agree. He went 4-3 and was a game away from 5-2.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's I could see. I mean, the Leviathans are fun and all, but like if you were, I would probably try and find just something else to play because like it works well as Spawning Bed, obviously, right? But it's a little awkward otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Even like a Water Elemental, I think would be fine.
Sure.
Costs 5, can't be bolted. Hits like a truck.
Right.
You don't have to sacrifice
elemental.
You don't have to sacrifice. Yeah, exactly. 4th air elemental's fine. You don't have to sacrifice a bunch of islands to make it go. This, I mean, sacking the whatever. What is Leviathan? Is it 10?
I think that's right. 10 mana.
No, 9 mana. Yeah, getting 9 Camarids once. Yeah. I mean, I would still maybe leave 1 Leviathan if we're quote unquote spiking. But I mean, he did well enough with this deck. Just the way it was. Pretty awesome. I love the 2 animate deads. Super underrated also. Like if you have a Leviathan in the yard, just bring it back, and for 1, what is it? Like blue, black, and 2, which is completely doable. You can run the whole thing back with the Spawning Bed and the Leviathan.
Yeah, and then also like sacking a deep spawn that's already 8 mana.
Yeah.
So like there's just so many ways to have like a whole bunch of tokens in this deck. It's just great.
I love Mind Twist in the sideboard. This is the Carter Portray plan of only bringing in your Mind Twist once your opponent pisses you off, and otherwise being rather gentlemanly ahead of that.
Yeah.
And plus, there is not room, right? You do need the calibrated number of fatties with your Eurekas. You do need your ramp, your enablers. You do. I mean, the blue power is more important than just randomly mind twisting somebody, I think. And those animates. I'm stuck on those animates. I think they're great.
Yeah, they're cool. If you Eureka in an animate dead, do you get to actually do something with that? I think so.
I think so, because you get to choose to attach it to something. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
I've never thought about this question before.
Animate is such an amazingly wonky template card, but that's the way that it's templated is sort of the only way that it could work, because it attaches to a creature in a graveyard, and I believe when you Eureka it hits the board, it needs something to attach to, but you can choose something from your graveyard or graveyard to do that, and then the rest of the thing, its ability triggers and resolves post Eureka, and the transition is made there. And I don't think state-based effects are checked until after that trigger happens. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is above my judgment.
Yeah, no, I'd have to think about it a little bit more. But I think it works. But
I almost think I've asked a judge about this exact interaction previously, and I believe the answer came back that yes, that works.
Nice, that's cool.
And you can tell you've explored most of the nooks and crannies of the old school spaces when you ask how Eureka and Animate Dead play together.
Yeah, you're definitely not. You're past playing the deck against Blue Red Burn at that point.
Right. And if your opponent is playing blue creatures, man, just grab them with the control magics out of the board and sack him to the bed all the same.
Yeah, I love this deck. That's awesome.
Agree. No, this is fantastic. I mean, it is really hard to choose between the 3 Eureka decks that we've shown, right? You've got this one, you've got the Oubliette, Tackle Maggot, Coffin thing, and then you have the Jeff Luz. Jesus Christ.
Jeff Luz deck.
Yeah, the Power Artifact, Basalt Monolith, Ali combo, all of these are doing just wild, unheralded things with Eureka. Getting a lot of run out of this amazing card. I wish this card wasn't so expensive because it's wonderful to brew with.
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
all right, and that brings us. Last but certainly not least, and to be clear, we are going in reverse alphabetical order by first name. So there's no ordering by spiciness. We'll let our loyal viewers be the judge of that, but. This is Andy Baccaro. He is from New York's Sisters of the Flame. Obviously well-documented Spicer. And he's back at it again. Here's another take on Fungusaur. And it's also a living artifact deck. Just the kind of deck that can do a lot of weird chip damage and then slowly, regain life as you bleed your opponent out with stuff like the Quombage Witches and the Pestilences.
The Witches are kind of interesting because you need to somehow deal your Fungusaur damage before you use a Witch.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't ping... Your first ping to the Fungusaur can't be you choosing to ping it with the Witch, because then they can just kill the Fungusaur. Because the witch damage does happen simultaneously.
Yeah, but you can, I think, freely ping your opponent at that point, because they're obviously just never gonna put a counter on him.
Your Fungusaur, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So.
But once you do get a counter on Fungusaur, you can do whatever you want with the witch.
Right. The Pestilences also work really well, obviously with Fungusaur, but they also work really well with Whirling Dervish, which is cool.
Yes. Yep.
And the Witches are also hard to kill, so I like having those in a Pestilence deck, because you can, do it for 2 and kill a lot of small creatures and then keep your Witches around. The living artifacts are kind of interesting, though, because, you're putting them on your opponent's stuff, probably, like their Moxen. things.
Certainly. Yeah, it doesn't matter where they are. You prefer to have them on your opponent's stuff so that you don't get 2 for 1.
Right.
And they basically just live over on your opponent's side of the board, and they serve as passive life gain for you all game. That works really well with the Sylvans. If you're just incidentally gaining a bunch of life, you can start drawing extra cards. He's got the shuffle effects galore with these Untamed Wilds and the tutor, obviously. So he can manipulate the top of his deck. Is there an additional way of benefiting from that other than, I don't know, if you're going to have Sylvans in play, you want the shuffle effects. I don't see what else he's doing. Like, does he need the Untamed Wilds for something specific? Like,
I don't think so.
I mean, he's ramping a little bit. Like, he's got a bunch of 4s, but not overly so. He can transform into a kind of a grindier Millstone deck, like with the Sylvan Mirror Universe, and extra
in the sideboard
and stuff like that.
So you can use those with your Sylvans.
So he can get really defensive and grindy out of the board, which is kind of neat.
Yep. One other thing that I'm noticing too is just if you Untamed Wilds on turn 3, or whatever turn that you have 3 mana, right? Then on your next turn you can play another mana source and you'll have 5 mana. So when you actually play the Pestilence, it can do a thing the first.
Yeah, that's a really good spot. That is a problem with casting. Pestilence, you kind of do want to be able to activate it right when it comes down. And that does cost 5, right? 2 black. So the Untamed Wilds can really help fixing, because you do need a lot of black mana to make that play work. Looking up, so Andy did go 3 and 4 with this. He won 3 matches.
Nice, yeah.
Pretty impressive for a pile like this.
We also shouldn't skip past the Jade statues, right?
Yes.
Those work really well with Pestilence, obviously, because they're not a creature.
Yep.
Actually, Jade statues, man. I've in the last year, given all the online events and things like that, I mean, I've played with and against Jade statue a couple of times, and that card's pretty good.
Can be sneaky. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a little awkward with Pestilence because you can't activate it by the end of the turn to keep Pestilence around. Pestilence checks at the end of the turn if you have a creature, and I think Jade Statue only is a creature during combat. By definition.
That's a good point.
It's a little sneaky.
But you have Factory for that.
But it does work well with these. Pestilence is a sweeper effect essentially, and you have other ways of persisting the Pestilence. And I mean, in general, high toughness guys are good with the Witches. Witches and Dervish also work together well, right? They can't kill your Dervish with a Witch Ping. This is really cool. I mean, it is a pile, but another fun way of making Fungusaur tick a little bit. Always fun to see attempts at that. Just 2 in this episode alone. Yeah, and a deck that. Yeah, I mean, Andy winning a few matches with this is just a testament to his skill as a brewer and a pilot, and just making things that are more than the sum of their very, very janky looking parts.
There really is just something about Fungusaur as a card from a nostalgia perspective, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that when they first saw that card, they're like, man, think of the things I could do with this, right?
Exactly.
It just look how good this thing is, right?
It just screams brewer around me. And leave it to Andy to have is that a beta Fungusaur also?
I think so, yeah.
Pretty great.
Nice.
Well, all right. Okay. I'm glad that we worked through this. I mean, when I go through these, obviously we go pretty quickly through all of the decks to winnow down the field that we're going to show on the program here. But getting to dig into them with you really makes me actually appreciate all of the different little things, and the amount of thought that has gone into these is just wonderful. like we said, there's a bunch of things that we didn't get to. There's a bunch of other. If you like Power Surge decks, go take a look at the tournament report once it's posted. There's some more Arborea stuff, and some other weird things that unfortunately we can't pack it all into one episode. But a lot of people still making really just getting the most out of this very limited card pool. And here I am, 5+ years into, thinking a ton about this format, playing it all the time,
right.
And still just getting really excited about things that I have, just interactions that I have still not seen come together until a tournament that we ran just over the weekend. So it remains a pleasure and wonderful to see these things come together. So thanks to everyone who played in Havenwood too. And thanks to the brewers who are still trying to make these things work and breathe life into these just new and innovative weird things that we can continue to celebrate and get excited about.
For sure. Well, I guess we'll call it quits then. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you for joining me. And I guess we'll see everybody next time.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks, Mike.
All right.